massive news coming for the Chicago Bulls surrounding future All-Star Coby White, which may lead to the Chicago Bulls landing a former MVP candidate. Hi, I am Shaq Barnes here with another episode of Bulls Digest, the number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls. I know that 6-7% of you guys have been watching the channel and have not subscribed. Treat it like the Bulls intro and run right through that subscribe button. Like we always do, I'm not here to waste you guys' time. We're going to get right into it. The Bulls' hands are tied by a rule that could doom Coby White's future. Obviously, Coby White is working on being an all-star caliber player. He came off a fantastic year. The Bulls' year didn't come in the way we actually wanted it to end, but it was certain bright spots that the Chicago Bulls had in Josh Giddey, Coby White, and Montes Buzelis. But also when it comes to those bright spots, sometimes you got to pay the piper. And when it comes to pay the piper, is this where the problem started coming to play for the Chicago Bulls and Coby White, where this could possibly lead to a whole different dynamic, and maybe Coby White could not be on the team. The 25-year-old star, 25-year-old, see, I'm ready already call him a star. The 25-year-old is scheduled for unrestricted free agency next summer. Chicago's most effective path of retaining him will typically involve making sure he never reaches the open market, but it can't. The NBA's extension rules won't allow it. And here's where the problem could play with the new extension rule. The new rule is crippling for Chicago, and here's why it is crippling. White is eligible to sign a extension this summer, but the collective bargaining agreement only allows the Bulls to give him a 140% raise of his 2025-2026 salary, when it comes in just under $12.9 million. This means Chicago can offer him close to $18.5 million in the first season of an extension and can max out at 4 years, $80.8 million deal overall. Remember when we was bringing up the Josh Giddey situation, where I always brought up the business of basketball, and the business of basketball always gonna come first. And sometimes the business of basketball is better for the organization, and sometimes the business of basketball is better for the player. And in this situation, it's better for the player, because now Coby White has been outplayed the last contract that he signed, that last extension. He's starting to come in his own, starting to become a all-star caliber player. It would kind of make more sense to bet on yourself and go into an offseason where in the 2026 offseason is going to be more money on the table, because this offseason really is only like the Brooklyn Nets is the only team that's really with money right now that can upright pay any other player what they kind of want, but they only can pay like maybe one, possibly two players, depending on what the money scale of the situation is. So now it doesn't make sense for Coby White, even if he wants to stay in Chicago, because I know he hasn't got that big payday yet. It doesn't make sense for him to sign the extension now. Especially, it'd be different if we was like, hey, man, Coby White take a pay cut. We getting this guy. We going to make a championship caliber move like the Knicks did with Jalen Brunson. Then they end up adding like Mikal Bridges, Karl Anthony Towns, things like that. So we not at that point. So Coby White, man, says probably like, I'm trying to get the biggest payday that I possibly can get, which is very understandable. So, but in my opinion, the Bulls can't wait on free agency. Now, the Bulls can simply wait until the 2026 free agents to pay their star guard, except that opens up potential can of worms. As an unrestricted free agent, White can sign with whoever he wants. That increases the competition for his service, especially when more teams projected to have a cap space in 2026 than right now. Chicago isn't going to separate itself from the field if winning is among Coby White's immediate goals. It can dangle a fifth year that no other team is allowed to offer. A fifth-year max would run $296 million for what it's worth, but that increases the chance his new contract aged poorly. This becomes indefinitely more likely the Bulls are offering him substantially more per year relative to the outside market just to sell him on stand. And I do agree that the Bulls shouldn't wait to the free agency, because there's already multiple teams interested in Coby White. You got the Orlando Magic, you got the Mavericks, you got the 76ers, which we're going to get into at some point later in this video, where they're going to want Coby White. And then teams know they're going to offer Coby White the money that he want. But if the team is capable of winning, that even make it even harder for the Bulls to do it. So now you got to actually make moves to keep Coby White happy and give him the exact number that he wants. But the other thing that does come into play too, with the Chicago from the Chicago Bulls point of view, okay, we got Josh Giddey. If we pay Josh Giddey, now we got Coby White the next season. We pay Coby White. Now we got to trade Nikola Vucevic, and every name that's been attached to Nikola Vucevic has been a young talent who needs an extension. So now Chicago Bulls manager could be, so if I pay Coby White, I pay Josh Giddey, say if we get Kuminga, we pay Kuminga. Aren't we just recircling back to the same situation that we just was in with Zach Lavine, DeMar DeRozan, and Nikola Vucevic and Lonzo Ball? We got a bunch of high kind of contract guys. Now this group will be a younger group, and the money might not be as high, but it's pretty much you'll be back into the same situation that you was in before then. So now it's like the Bulls' hands could be tied if Coby White is asking for too much, or if a lot of teams are forcing the Bulls' hand. Maybe the Bulls will start thinking, hey, maybe we should try to get something for Coby White while we can get something for him at the moment. Now, like I just said, White contract situation will force the Bulls' hand. This all sets to say Chicago to aggressively shop White over the offseason, something they arguably should have done last summer, and then again at the 2025 trade deadline. Now, I with me, I'm 50-50 on it because I wouldn't necessarily say last summer because we had Coby White on a favorable contract and he actually was fitting his contract. I think this year he really outplayed his contract. I just think what we did this trade deadline, we should have did that this offseason. We got the Giddeys, when we got obviously Coby White opportunity, we should have traded Zach, DeMar. We should have did this, and we probably had a better chance of actually trading Nikola Vucevic if we did it during the offseason. I think we would have had a better chance. I just feel that I don't agree with moving Coby White last year. I think we should have moved everybody that we moved during the trade deadline, plus Nikola Vucevic. And I think that would have been perfect during the last offseason because then we would have had actually a full year of Montes Buzelis showing what he's worth. Shout out to Montes Buzelis winning all-rookie second team. He possibly could have been all-rookie first team if he actually would have got a chance to play majority of the year. He got more of his burn during the second half of the season. So I'd say I just disagree with that point. But now while Coby White is good, he isn't that good. Chicago also need to reconcile how much it will cost to pay him and Josh Giddey, who's about to be a restricted free agent. These two could cost north of $70 million combined by 2026-2027. The Bulls better be darn sure that their backcourt of the future if they're invested so much into the pair of players who may never make an all-star game. And that's the point I was really bringing up, again, about this situation where, okay, you paying all these guys, aren't we just recircling back to the same situation that we were just in with Zach Lavine, DeMar DeRozan, and Nikola Vucevic? So you got to be 100% sure. So obviously it's either you got to pay the piper or handle the best of basketball, get something for him. You could do a sign and trade maybe for Josh Giddey, get something for him. Coby White do the same thing, maybe a sign and trade. And especially with this draft that's ahead of us right now, maybe you could use pieces to trade up in this year's draft. And a lot of names that have been stemming around what's going on, and one of the names that has been likely talked about is 76ers star forward Paul George. And we looked into the table, and I want you guys to answer this and let me know how you guys feel about it. Is Coby White, is taking on Paul George's contract worth trading Coby White? So now the trade will probably surround Paul George in the third pick, and we get up Coby White in the 12th pick. I'm 50-50 on it because I wouldn't mind having the third pick. That might be end up being maybe Ace Bailey or maybe a Dylan Harper because you know Coby White is going number one. I just think I would rather have a third team partner to maybe take that Paul George contract, and then we get more assets during the process of that situation. Because I just don't think like we got a lot of money coming into 2026 season, and I think we'll be better off doing things like that more than anything. Because I'm like Paul George contract is like we kind of taking a step back with him, but that third pick and getting a guy like an Ace Bailey or a Dylan Harper would be franchise changing. Let me know what you guys think in the video. Would you guys trade Coby White in the 12th pick for the third pick, but you got to take on Paul George contract? It's been Shaq Barnes, SB Talk Sports. This has been another great episode of Bulls Digest, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.